This is Leadership TV. See ahead, move ahead, stay ahead.
Hi, welcome to the fifth section of our leadership series. If you haven't seen the previous four, you should try and look for them and watch them. It will make more sense to you. But today, I'm speaking to you on a very unusual title. I'm speaking to you on the 13 do not that make leaders do more. It's unusual because in leadership training, we teach you what leaders do. But in this particular instance, I'm teaching you what leaders must not do. Because if you know what you shouldn't do, it frees you more time to do what you should do more. So here are biblically based 13 things you should not do as a leader. Number 1, do not be wise in your own eyes. Proverbs 3 verse 7. Do not be wise in your own eyes. Fear the Lord and shun evil. It's one of the worst things that can ever happen to a leader is to live in your own world and accept your worldview as a rule for everybody. On a particular thing, many people will have different views. A true leader should be able to look at all the other views and then come to a very objective conclusion. Compare people's views to your view, because your view world is not the only world that people live in. The people you live come from different worlds, and their worlds have also shaped their views. So do not be wise in your own view. Look at the views of other people, and you know what? Have the capacity to meet all of them halfway and use their views to improve on your view. Sometimes it is better to look at things through other people's eyes. But that's what actually true leaders do. Sometimes you will realize that other people see better than you see. Number 2, do not love sleep. Proverbs 12 verse 13. Do not love sleep, or you will grow poor. Stay awake, and you will have food to spare. An amazing scripture. The key to success in leadership is your ability to overcome laziness. You know, sleep has a cost. And sleep is so costly that it can make you poor, especially if you love it. Years ago, I used to do a work in London. And at that time, it was £5 per hour. Now, what that meant was that my value at the time was £5 per hour. So during those days, if I slept for 8 hours, I'll spend £40 sleeping. Today, of course, my value is far in excess of that. So I calculate my sleep based on my value. For instance, if a man is worth $1,000 per hour, if that man sleeps for 8 hours, that man has spent $8,000. How much are you worth? Maybe your value is so low that you don't care how much you put in a sleep. But hey, every successful leader is a very valuable product and counts his value in terms of hours, and therefore knows what to commit to sleep. Imagine sleeping 8 hours a day. You'll be sleeping 25 hours when you are 75 years old. You'll be sleeping 20 hours when you are 60 years old. You'll be sleeping 15 hours at 45 years old. That's why leaders sleep less and achieve more. Number 3, do not make friends with the hot-tempered. Proverbs 22 verse 24. Do not make friends with a hot-tempered person. Do not associate with one easily angered. Why? Because a hot-tempered person can destroy everything you have used years to build. You cannot predict their reaction. You need people who are patient to be able to lead and build relationship with. Leaders are not hot-tempered people, because with hot-temperedness, you can destroy everything you have built over a very long period of time. Number 4, do not put up security for debts. Proverbs 22 verse 26. Do not be one who shakes hands to pledge or puts up security for debt. This reminds me of an incident several years ago when I came to a place in Ghana called the Sprinters Road in Accra. In an attempt to ensure that I can please everybody to have my congregation stay put, one guy went for a loan and asked me to stand in as a guarantor. Guess what? He defaulted and my reputation was at stake. I had to look for money to pay for something I did not spend. People will come to you as leaders and will get you to put your hard-earned reputation on the line for them. Please hesitate in doing that. Assess the risk before you put your name to anything of that nature, because a good name is better than riches. Number 5, do not wear yourself out. Do not wear yourself out. Proverbs 23 verse 4. Do not wear yourself out to get rich. Do not trust your own cleverness. You see, leaders must learn where they take a break and they take a rest. Leadership is a long journey. And anytime you are making a long journey in advanced countries, you see rest stop. You see food joints. You see where you must take a long rest. Many people who get accident on the way are people who have driven for a long distance, and even when they are tired, they want to reach as where they are going at a certain time, fast mode, and they end up killing themselves. Listen, know when to rest. Do not wear yourself out and getting rich, because at the end of the day, you get rich and you use the money to take care of your hospital bills. So leaders know when to rest, when to take a well-deserved rest. Number 6, do not speak to fools. Leaders, do not spend your time speaking to fools. They will not appreciate you. They will not understand you. Proverbs 23 verse 4. Do not speak to fools, for they will scorn your prudent words. I've met different people. I've met a lot of wise people and a few foolish people. How difficult it has been for me to make sense to foolish people. Do not waste all your time trying to get foolish people to see your point of view. Sometimes there comes a time where you must move on and leave some people behind as a leader. Number 7, do not join those who drink too much. Proverbs 23 verse 20. Do not join those who drink too much wine or gorge themselves on meat. In other words, do not join those who are glutton. You know something? Being a Christian institution, being a bishop, I'm not deceiving myself that I'm speaking to only Christians. I'm also not deceiving myself that there are Christians who are not drunkards and who are not gluttons. You see, one of the ailments killing a lot of people is what we call lifestyle ailment. And a leader who suffers from a lifestyle ailment is a very foolish leader, because you have choices. You need to live long, and you need to structure yourself and make the right choices as to what you introduce into your body. Anything you introduce into your body that will shorten your lifespan, you must ensure you don't do it. When you do that, you are insulting your own intelligence as a leader. You need a healthy body to have a healthy mind. You need a healthy mind to make effective leadership decisions that will determine your success or failure in life. Number 8, do not join a rebellion. Proverbs 24 verse 21. Fear the Lord and the king, my son, and do not join with rebellious officials. I remember serving in this church. When I entered into the church, there were a group of people who suddenly just loved me. They were showering me with gifts. Anytime I finished preaching, they were so much full of praise. Even when I knew at some time that I had not preached well, these people were so much full of praise. Then I realized later on, there were a group of rebellious people that wanted to get rid of the pastor because the pastor had undermined the previous pastor to get in that position. And the remnants of the pastor who was sacked earlier had remained in the church to teach this pastor a lesson. And they wanted to get me involved in their rebellious act. But I was a wise young man. I just moved out because I know that the sin of rebellion is like the sin of witchcraft. So I was very careful. Do not usurp the authorities of the people that God has placed over you. Neither join any group of people that want to do that. Respect authority, and you will live long in leadership. Number 9, do not exalt yourself. Proverbs 25 verse 6. Do not exalt yourself in the king's presence, and do not claim a place among his great men. I took one man from my church who wanted a contract with a greater man, one of the biggest men of God in my country. He came and he accompanied me to this meeting. It was at this meeting that he wanted to prove to this man that he was a big man. I saw his posture and the way he was seated and the way he was talking. Knowing him and knowing who he wasn't up to 10% the posture he was trying to present. Guess what? A big contract, he lost it. Because before a king, he wanted to rub his shoulders. I've seen a lot of young pastors who want to rub shoulders with people that are far ahead of them. In my language, they say, if you know how to wash your hands, you eat with big men. I have known how to wash my hands and how to behave before big men, and I'm blessed to sit amongst them. Do not exalt yourself before kings. Number 10, do not answer a fool. Proverbs 24 verse 6. Do not answer a fool according to his folly, or you yourself will be just like him. As a senior pastor, I've seen a few junior pastors acting foolishly, and I watched them from afar, and I've just said to myself, I do not want these people to bring me to their level, to drag me to their gutters. And when you have taken a position to ignore them, they assume that you are afraid of them. They assume that you cannot touch them. They assume that they are untouchable. But you know what? I just obeying the scripture. Do not answer a fool according to his folly. Number 11, do not boast about tomorrow. Do not boast about tomorrow. Proverbs 27 verse 1. Do not boast about tomorrow, for you do not know what a day may bring. That is why no matter how you achieve, people achieve things and they become thinkers. They begin to believe in themselves and they take out the God that knows tomorrow. You cannot predict even what will happen to you in the next 1 hour. I've seen people today, and just after leaving a meeting with them, I've heard on news they are dead. You cannot predict. I watched a video of a woman dancing very happily. Just when she was dancing, she just fell down and died. Humble yourself before God as a leader, the God that knows tomorrow, and commit yourself to that God. Number 12, do not be quickly provoked. Ecclesiastes 7 verse 9. Do not be quickly provoked in your spirit, for anger resides in the lap of fools. If you're a leader who is easily provoked, you are a fool. Wise leaders know how to comport themselves in the face of provocation. Never allow anybody to drag you, to provoke you into anger and get you to have temporal insanity. Anger makes you a mad person in a very short while, and after that, you regret. Comport yourself, compose yourself, have a composure as a leader. That's what true leaders do. Number 13. Do not pay attention to every word people say. Proverbs 7 verse 21. Do not pay attention to every word people say, or you may hear your servant cursing you. As a leader myself, I get people bringing me different reports and what people say. But if I pay attention to what everybody is saying, I might not be able to even function. And some people that bring you words of what people are saying, their intention is that they want you to hear those painful things. They enjoy you hearing those painful things so that it will kill you and discourage you. Look at the messengers around you. Who brings you good news and who brings you bad news? Recently, there was a situation in Ghana where I offered a building for an isolation center for COVID-19, and a few people in the community demonstrated and rejected the offer. There were a lot of goodwill, and people in the country stood by me. There was one person on my leadership team, especially my pastoral leadership team. The only thing the person kept telling me were the negative things people were saying. In fact, on the news on TV, where people were saying good things, he actually only videoed with his phone where somebody was actually insulting me and WhatsApp that to me, whereas others were WhatsApping the positive things to me. Because there are people who want to hear things that will discourage you, and they rejoice when you are hearing bad things. So be careful about what people bring to your notice. Sometimes it's good not to hear some of the things at all that people bring to your attention. Focus on what God is saying about you, not what everybody is saying about you. Thank you so much for joining me on this session. I hope to see you again. The Lord bless you and keep you. The mission of the Titi Ofe Center is to provide all manner of leadership learning opportunities to all manner of leaders in all manner of ways, mostly at no cost to these leaders who study at the Titi Ofe Center. To be able to finance the Titi Ofe Center and make sure that our projects are sustainable, I want to invite you to buy the Titi Ofe books on Amazon. Any book you buy is donated to the Titi Ofe Center for the development and the training of the next generation of godly servant leaders. Titi Ofe Center every year hosts the African Young Leaders Fellowship Program, where we attract young leaders from across Africa free of charge for a 10-day leadership development program. We also host MELT, the Management, Entrepreneurship and Leadership Training Program. And this attracts also young men and women who spend weekends with us here at no cost to them at all. Titi Ofe Center also hosts some of the biggest young pastors leadership conference. Is called IPLAS, the International Pastors and Leaders Under 40 Summit, where we house over 3,000 young pastoral leaders at no cost to them at all in our facilities. And we want you to support us to keep doing these things. Recently, we signed an MOU with the biggest student organization in Ghana, NUGS, the National Union of Ghana Students, to provide free leadership training to student leaders across the country. This is worth supporting. And above all, the Titi Ofe Center is also a mission center where this training offers us the opportunity to serve Jesus with our participants. Why don't you support the Titi Ofe Center by buying a Titi Ofe book, by creating a Titi Ofe library right now? Do it now, and the Lord will bless you.
This is Leadership TV. See ahead, move ahead, stay ahead.